Hello everybody. So today we're going to talk about Rocket Lab. So couple months ago, I thought that when SpaceX built their starship, it would completely destroy Neutron on cost. Okay, because starship is 100% fully reusable and Neutron is not 100%. So it will make sense for people to think that Starship will be cheaper, will be cheaper and destroy um Neutron. Then like everybody will go to if like anybody want to launch something, everybody will go to Starship. You will get all the customer and start Neutron will not get anything. So actually that's false because I did the math of calculation and see the cost per launch for Starship and Neutron. Okay, so let's start off with Starship. So Elon Musk has estimated that Starship will cost 4 times as much to build as Falcon 9. So my estimate for Starship cost to build is around 200 million. Okay, so like a car cannot drive for infinity. It cannot drive forever. So a car will uh, uh, meet its end of life around 300,000 miles. So there's the same thing. Uh, there's the same ideology for Starship as well. So I think Starship can only launch like 100 times. It's not that. It's not like Starship. Even though it's fully reusable, there's still a limit on how many times you can use. So my estimate will be 100 times. So cost to build is 200 million divided by 100. So that's $2 million on uh, rocket depreciation cost per launch. So every time you launch, you gotta set aside $2 million for depreciation and fuel. Elon Musk has said that it will cost around $900,000 for the fuel cost. Because of the inflation, I gotta round it out to 1 million. Okay, so that's $3 million of fixed costs already for Starship. And then there's maintenance, tax, insurance, and people, logistic, electricity, food for logistic team, and and everything, and then there's a lot of other stuff. So we're gonna um round that up to $1 million because they got like 33 engines they gotta inspect and maintain it. So for the Starship, that's all. I think that's pretty low, but we're just gonna give it at 1 million. So 2 million and amortization depreciation cost for the rocket, 1 million for fuel, 1 million for maintenance, insurance tax and everything. So the fixed cost per launch for Starship is $4 million. Okay, so now let's go to Neutron. So my estimated cost to build Neutron is 50 million. It makes sense because Neutron is like less than half the size. It's not 25% the size. So it's gonna give it a 50 million. And plus, Neutron's engineers are just as good as SpaceX engineers. If SpaceX engineers can build a rocket that will last 100 times, a Rocket Lab can do so as well. So 50 million divided by 100 flights. So that's around $500,000 dollars per depreciation cost for the rocket, and then fuel. I'm gonna give fuel around 500,000 because it's like 25% of the size. So I am a little bit overestimating for fuel as well. And then maintenance, so it's like tax, instruments, everything. Plus like Rocket Lab don't have a launch pad. They don't need to build one, so their maintenance cost will be a lot cheaper as well. So I'm gonna give that gonna give the maintenance cost around 500,000 as well. So and then there's long reusable second stage. So Neutron's second stage is not reusable. It's basically one just they're gonna throw away a Archimedes. I cannot pronounce the name of the engine. So my estimate for that will be $3 million for the second stage. They still keep the fairing, the thing that open out and close. They still keep that. It's just that they have to throw away. Excuse me. They just have to throw away the engine that make take it to the orbit that you want to go. Okay, so realistically, Rocket Lab's Neutron is more like 90% fully reusable. So the cost will be $4.5 million of fixed cost. Starship's fixed cost is $4 million, and Neutron's fixed cost is $4.5 million. Okay, if Neutron can I am overestimate a lot on fuel and maintenance. If they can cut some budgets, they can be Neutron's fixed cost could be $4 million as well. So Neutron definitely can compete against Starship. Okay, and so other people say that, but Starship can bring 100 ton to orbit, but excuse me, but Neutron can only bring 8 ton to orbit. Okay, why would anyone buy Neutron's launch service when you can get 100 ton? But the thing is that if your spacecraft only weighs 5 ton, okay, and it can fit on a Neutron rocket, and then the fixed cost and the launch cost will be about the same. Yeah, and if it's about the same, you can just launch it on a Neutron rocket as well. Okay, if it's Starships are 10 times cheaper, then I will go. If I have a 5 ton spacecraft, I will use Starship, but the launch cost is the same, and then the plus you are getting your own dedicated vehicle with Neutron, just one spacecraft, and you launch it to orbit. But Starship, you may have to ride share that ride share with other spacecraft. You can get it cheaper. Okay, so right now there's already proof that this demand for not proof, but I think they already proof that smaller rocket can compete against a larger rocket. So for example, Falcon 9, it can take 500,000 pound, 50,000 pound, 50,000, okay, 50,000 pound into orbit, and the launch cost is around 15 to 60 million dollars. So that's around like $1,000,000, not a million, $1,000 per pound, okay. And Electron launch cost is around 7.5 million, and it can only take 661 pounds into orbit. So that's around $11,000 per pound. So Falcon 9 is like 10 or 11 times cheaper, but Electron still have demand, even though it's 10 or 11 times more expensive per launch. The reason it still have demand is cost per flight. Okay, Falcon 9 cost per flight is 50 million, and Electron 7.5 million. No matter how you look at it, you have to pay 50 million upfront to get the engine started and fly. Okay, Neutron 7.5 million. If you have a 500-pound spacecraft and you want to launch it to space, yes, Falcon 9 can take it to orbit, but it will cost $50 million. But that spacecraft can fit on the Electron. It will only cost 7.5 million. So I will take the 7.5 million and launch it into orbit. Okay, so that's the reason why it can compete right now. And the same, not the same, but anyway, let's get back to the topic of Neutron and Starship. Both of them can definitely compete. If you have a smaller spacecraft that's like less than 8 tons, Electron can take it for the same price as Starship to orbit. Plus, you're getting your own dedicated launch vehicle, and you don't have to wait for anybody. So that video, and so this basically explains why Starship will not kill Neutron. It will be able to compete even though Starship is 100% reusable. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.